In a world full of noise, very few choose to speak with grace, and even fewer use their words to build a better world. This is the inspiring story of a man who turned words into power and power into purpose. Shashi Tharoor. His eloquence is not just about speaking well, but about making a difference. Through his words, he inspires change, challenges the status quo, and empowers others to find their voice. In a world that often shouts, he chooses to speak with wisdom and purpose. Born in London in 1956, Shashi Tharoor's journey didn't begin in politics. It began with books, with ideas, and with dreams bigger than borders. As a young boy in Kolkata, he was different. While other kids played outside, Shashi drowned himself in novels, essays, and poetry. At the age of 6, he was already writing stories. At 10, he read more books than most people do in a lifetime. By 22, Shashi Tharoor had earned his PhD from the Fletcher School of Law and Diplomacy at Tufts University, the youngest ever to do so. He could have stayed in America, earned millions, and lived a life of comfort. But he chose a different path, a path of service, purpose, and sacrifice of his own nation, India. It's not always easy, but it's worth it, because true fulfillment comes from making a difference, and that's the path he chose. For over 2 decades, Shashi Tharoor served at the United Nations. From peacekeeping missions to refugee welfare, Shashi Tharoor was everywhere, giving voice to the voiceless, reason to chaos, and dignity to diplomacy. But the world noticed Shashi not just for what Shashi said, but how he said it. With one powerful speech at Oxford, Shashi woke up an entire generation. He reminded Indians of their past to ignite self-worth. That speech went viral, but behind it was a lifetime of pain, pride, and patriotism. In 2009, Shashi entered Indian politics. From global halls to Indian streets, Shashi Tharoor chose to serve his motherland. As MP from Thiruvananthapuram, Shashi brought intellect into politics, and yes, vocabulary too. Shashi's famous English words like floxinausinihylipification made India Google more words than anyone else in history. But behind every long word was a strong will to educate, to elevate, and to inspire. Shashi Tharoor never stopped being a teacher. Through 20-plus books, thousands of interviews, and hundreds of speeches, he built a bridge between India's ancient wisdom and its modern dreams. He taught us that being Indian isn't just about where you live, it's about what you stand for. Life hasn't been easy for him. He's faced loss, criticism, and storms, both public and private. But not once did he stop moving forward. Even when the world questioned his every move, Shashi Tharoor kept choosing the path of grace. That's the mark of a true leader, not in how loud he speaks, but in how deeply he listens, learns, and leads. Today, Shashi stands not just as a politician, not just as a writer, but as a symbol of India's evolving soul, intelligent, bold, cultured, and compassionate. Shashi reminds every Indian youth that intelligence is not arrogance, that culture is not old, it is gold, and that leadership begins with empathy. So if you've ever felt out of place for being too bookish, too soft-spoken, too thoughtful, remember Shashi Tharoor. In a noisy world, Shashi Tharoor showed that clarity still matters, that words can still move nations, and that ideas, when nurtured with love and courage, can change the world. If Shashi Tharoor's story moved you, don't just like, don't just share. Speak up, write with purpose, think boldly, lead fearlessly. The world needs your voice too. Subscribe for more stories of India's unsung heroes.